Good morning, everybody. I'm just wondering, can you view the chat there? If you can, could you send a message in just so I can hear you, or so you can let me know that you can hear me? That'd be great. So yeah, if you can hear me, please let me know through the chat if you can. That'd be great. Because otherwise I'm going to crack on if you can't hear me, okay? Brilliant, thank you. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on through this, okay? If you have any questions, throw it into the chat and I'll get onto it and I'll have a look, all right? So what we're going to look at today in the... so I'm going to crack on with the course and what we're going to look at today, all right? So on our scale, the one I use in class and the one I'm going to focus on today, and I think a lot of teachers are using this one, is Dado le Onion Glyn, okay? And it's a really nice and easy or scale to look at, okay? We're going to look at how to answer the exam question, so Cunis and Kester Raggart, Príomh Tammy and Ur scale. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm not going to look at the Príomh Tammy, I'm going to look at the characters because that is what is asked of us in the exam question that I'm going to focus on. And then Buach Fuinte on Ur scale. So the main point of the novel, so what the climax of the story is. And the exam question is actually asking us to change that. So that's a really important aspect, okay? So like I said, the exam question that you get on the novel in the story or in your exam is worth 50 marks. It is the second highest question you're going to come across. All right. It is definitely worth the time. You have 2 hours in your exam. All right. So 2 hours is a lot of time. 20 minutes of that is your clue stichkent. All right. And then you crack on to the written paper. It's the second highest question, like I said, you have 2 hours. So I would say give this question no more than 20 minutes. All right. Because you do have other bits. You have 11 questions overall. Okay. It's usually question 6. So Kester Share and Bopper. So it'll come up fairly quickly. 20 minutes, definitely. And you can come back to it then when you've got time. Your Leiv Hishkent is the highest question, next to the clue stichkent, but that's a number of questions put together. But the Leiv Hishkent is 60, okay? So it's definitely worth giving this the time it deserves, okay? So this is the exam question that the SEC have released as a sample question, okay? Because nobody has sat Junior Cycle Irish yet due to COVID, which is unfortunate. So we only have, sample papers that released by the SEC and your mock paper companies, and then the exam papers that you use in class. They're all sample papers except for the first one, all right? So it's important that you can tackle the questions that are put in front of you. This is actually the hardest question they've put out, all right? It is quite a difficult question, but it's definitely doable with a bit of work, okay? So there's a couple of things we're going to be looking at to help us get through this question. We're going to be looking at characters, we're going to be looking at the Buach Fuinte, and we're also going to be looking at the I'm sure Ashnach, because that will help us answer this last question, okay? Because we have to, in question B here, what it's asking us to do is to write an alternative ending, okay? Because RTE are going to make a film of this, but they're not happy with the ending, okay? So they want a different ending. So like I said, we'll tackle this, all right? So I'm going to go through the questions one by one. I'm going to give you some tips, all right? I'm going to move to my iPad in a second when I've gone through the questions, and then we're going to go through questions A and B together, all right? So like I said, 50 marks. I want you to look at this, just tip 1 there for a second. as you can see when you look at the question, you've got a rough work box, okay? And it's definitely worth using your rough work box, okay? It's called Romsu so it's brainstorm, okay? And what that is allowing you to do is to write down potential answers, potential ideas, some keywords for yourself, okay? And it's really important that we do that, because that is going to give us, there's marks available for that too, okay? Not many, but it's worth throwing them down, okay? So I'm going to switch to my iPad now. We're going to go through questions, each question, okay? And what that will do is help us build an answer, all right? So hopefully you can see that screen there, and I'm gonna write in some answers on top, all right? It's taking a second there to change over. So there we go. Okay. So there are marks going for looking at the title. Okay, you get 1 mark for that. The author, so the author, you get a mark for that. And then anam on character spatial on orscale. So the name of like an interesting character from the novel. Okay, you get marks for these, but you only get marks for these if you spell them correctly. Okay, so that is vital information. So title on orscale, in this case, I'm going to use Dado, all right? And I'm using Dado because a lot of teachers these days are actually using Dado because it's very simple and it's easy for us to use. And it's a nice story. It's a happy ending, unlike a lot of other novels that are out there at the minute for students to study. Okay? So, title on orscale, Dado. Or I know a lot of you are doing catfish, and some of you are doing Kupla maybe as well. Anam on uther. Spelling is key here. So if you miss an uru, or you miss a shevu, or you miss a fada in the name, you're going to lose that 1 mark. Okay, and all these marks add up at the end. Okay, it could be the difference between a distinction and a merit and in line with expectations, and so on. Okay, so Anya Niglin is our author, our uther in this case. Okay, and that's showing up now. Alright, and then on character spatial on orscale. So in the orscale we've got 2 main characters, okay, well 3, but the most interesting ones we have are Liam and Dado. Okay, and I'm going to put this in my Romstu Smuinta here in my rough work box. Okay, so we've Liam and we've Dado. I'm going to use Dado here because he's an interesting character. Okay, so what he does in the story is he lets on that he's a lovely person, but at the end he tries to kidnap poor Liam. So that's not ideal. And he shows his true colours in the end, okay? And we'll get on to that again when we're talking about the book Fuinta later on, okay? But yeah, he's quite interesting. He ain't nice. So I'm gonna put Dado up in the character spatial, alright? And I'm just gonna put an arrow here to say spatial. He is quite interesting, okay? I'm conscious that what it's showing for me is a couple of seconds, a little bit of a delay when I'm writing my answers in, but here we go. It's coming up there. And he is spatial. He is a lot of things, okay? So if you study the story, he is definitely a nasty, evil person. So it's Dina Ulke. Okay, he's evil, and that's one thing, because he does try and kidnap poor Liam. He is Dinna gone through it, so he's pitiless. It's Dinna gone trogra, he's merciless. Okay, and being sé ag fara amach le haid páistí sinanta agus déanann sé iireacht an fáiste a bhela le bréige. So he tries to, he's literally sitting on the train looking out for innocent kids that he can, you know, try and kidnap, which is not ideal. Okay. So we've two things here. It's Dinna Ulke and it's Dinna, well, I'm going to say it's Dinna Glicke. Okay, he's sly. And he's sly because he's sitting there on the lookout for poor children that he can kidnap. Okay. So when we move on to the next question, that's what they're asking us to do. They're asking us to pick out two of his traits and to say why he is a nasty person, okay? And we can do that by just simply giving an example from the story, okay? So part B there of the question is asking us to describe, okay, this little thing is there, okay, hopefully you'll be able to see that there when it gets to the right point. So Dainker she's rá ré de quid and character spatial shin. To describe two traits. Gá ré, two traits. And what I will say, guys, is one of the most challenging things about the Irish paper is the words they use in the question, okay? So you'll get used to that the more that you're looking and practicing exam papers, okay? Tor gá hampla, or gá sampler, sorry, I'll read that again. Tor sampla one on our scale, it got gach ceann in a tréithe sin. So we're going to pick two traits, okay? And then you need to give one sample from the novel for each of those traits. So that would work, and if you're studying Cúpla and we've picked Sharon or we've picked Ayla as the character spatial, okay? So tréithe for Ayla then would be is Dinna Alani. She's a lovely person. She's very kind to her twin, even though her twin is treating her awfully. It's Dinna Clishti. She's clever. She's a very clever student. She works really hard in her classes and in her studies and in her music, okay? But for this case, we're looking at Dado, okay? So Treoan atá ag Dado, we would say is Dinna Ulke. And then Tre Ella, we know he's a Dinna Glick. He's sly. Okay, so I've written those in there, so they'll pop up now in a second. Okay. So, to give an example of why he's Ulk, okay, we can talk about at the end of the story. So, at the end of the story, he tries to kidnap Liam, okay, but he gets caught, thankfully. He gets caught. And then for Dinna Glick, we can say, you know, he's kind of preyed on him a little bit. He saw that he was lying to Farna Dickade, he was lying to the ticket man, and he lied to Liam as well. So he was sly in that sense because he also told lies to try and make Liam feel comfortable with him, okay? So we can use those two examples to get us through this part here, okay? So Dinna Ulk. So just like, you're going to need to use full sentences here because that's going to get you the most marks. So it's not enough to just write Mar tá sé Ulk. You need to say why he is not a nice person. So it's Dinna Ulk A. And just like when you're saying is Mát Lum, Berla Mar tá sé, the Mar tá sé bit is the very important bit here. Because he is. And that's a bit that I know my students will forget a good bit in class. They forget to say the Mar tá sé bit. They'll say, is Dinna Ulk a Dado? And they won't give a reason. And that's where you're going to lose marks, okay? Because he is. Because he is what those three words translate to. Mar tá sé ag éirí Liam a údach. And what that means, nuair atá tú ag éirí rud éigin a údach, you want to kidnap them, okay? And that's the rotten thing about him, is he's evil. And I'll just write that there as well, just so we remember the keywords. They're very important. He wants to kidnap him. He's nasty, okay? It's dinner okay. And that is, believe it or not, enough to write there, okay? You're just asked how, okay? Now you can go into more detail, but the marks are going to be there just because you said what he wants to do. I'll elaborate here and I'll write more in, okay? So, ag deire an scéal. Sorry, ag deire an or scéal, most importantly, actually. You're not just looking at a story. So, ag deire an or scéal. Just going to put a line under here so we can't. Ag deire an or scéal. Brúin. Sé Liam. Isteach. I gcóir. A chara. Mánas. So Mánas is Dado's best mate and his partner in crime, I suppose. But at the end of the story, Liam is pushed into the back of that car. Okay? And that's enough. This is like a guaranteed full answer. Okay? You're going to get your 2 ticks, you're going to get your full marks. Okay? If a student of mine came in to me and wrote that answer, I'd be like, on the money, well done. Okay? So it's important that, you know, your example from the story is important. And you would get marks for just saying Agiri Lima Udo. He does want to kidnap him, but elaborate a little bit, okay? Just to ensure. Alright, so Dinna Glick then, the next one. This is where Dado showed his true colours. So it's Dinna Glick a Mar. We're not saying what he is. We are saying what he is, sorry, but we're saying it's a little bit different to how we describe how he's evil, okay? Because he tries to do something as well, okay? So it's Dinna Glick a Dado. That should be a capital really, shouldn't it? I'm just going to rub that out. A Dado. Mar Inchin sé Brega the Liam. So he tells Liam lies to make him feel comfortable with him. Okay? So he tells Liam lies to make him feel comfortable, okay? And what's worse about him is he kind of he knew that Liam was struggling and he still went there. He still tried to lie to him. Okay, he knew that Liam was having trouble at home and still he continued to lie. Okay? So what we're going to say here is I'm going to say he understood how bad things were for Liam, but still lied. Okay, so Hig sé, so he understood. Gurau, Sail Crua, Egg Liam. Okay, kidnap. Alright, so God, sorry, that's a bit messy now, but Okfos, but still. Lanch Erai, he continued with his plan to kidnap Liam. Alright, which is awful. because he understood, Higshay, he understood that Liam had a tough life, and he still continued to go with his plan to kidnap him, okay? Which is not nice. Just shows that he is sly and he is evil, okay? And that reaffirms your point for both, okay? So another thing that is important, your verbs, okay? You've got inchy in there, you've got hig, like agiri, you could say vishay, agiri, v is there important, okay? But your verbs are very important, and like I said, I'll go over kind of the I'm sure Ashnach bits or we can kind of pick what tense we want to write that in, but I'm going to focus on the I'm sure Ashnach today for that. For the bit that we can use for the new ending that we want to put in, okay? So the next question then is the hard one. Alright, and it'll show up now in 2 seconds. Okay, so tá RTE chun scanna a dhéanamh den uirscéal atá anamnathe, okay? Ach níl siad sásta le críoch an uirscéal nu. So you're being asked to write a new ending. Okay, which is hard to do. That's a difficult question to do, okay? But with a bit of prep, you'd be prepared for this, okay? Like obviously your teachers can't predict what's going to come up, but we can prepare you in every way possible, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip on here and I'm going to come back to the question. We're going to work on what the actual ending is, and then we're going to see where we can flip it, okay? It doesn't have to be a massively new ending, okay? You can reiterate a lot of what happens in the actual story, in the actual climax of the story as well, and just change a few small bits. So the buachmhainte in Dado is, and I'm going to write out a couple of notes here. The buachmhainte in Dado is literally Dado gets caught and Liam is saved, okay? So I'm just going to write down a few kind of key sentences that will help with the actual buachmhainte. So I'm going to write actual buachmhainte, the actual ending. Oops. The actual ending. So, point 1. So, if you dado goffa ag na Gordy, or if you goffa, you're caught or you're stuck. Okay. Bhí na Gordy timpeall air. We know that Farna Decade actually rang the guards. So Cur Farna Decade. Gleach na Gordy. Okay, so he rang the guards. Okay. And what we find out as well is that Dado had actually managed to kidnap another boy who never came home, and he's false era. He's still missing. Okay, and Farna Decade remembered this, and that's why he called the guards. Okay, so Gawa Mánas, who's his mate, agus Dado. Okay, so they were caught by the guards. They were arrested. Okay, nor Gawa Denegan, they're arrested. So we need to write a new ending. Okay, and that is hard to do. Okay, but we can make some small changes to the end of this story to fix that. Okay, so what we could do is we could say that Dado didn't get caught. There were guards there, but they didn't catch him. So we could turn around and we could say they went on a wild goose chase around Dublin City. Okay, so we can keep the fact that Cur Farna Dickhead Gaeilge and Gordy Hunnick Dado, Sailsha Glass or Sailsha Gurma, Jesus, they don't have green lights, they have blue lights. And that, simple endings like that, simple changes like that. So we can make sure that he's caught in the end to give us that relief, that kind of sense of, okay, Liam is okay, but we need to change a number of things. Is that okay? So they might want, RTE probably want to add a bit of excitement into the film. Fair enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a blank slide here. Dara Nua. So the new ending. When it shows up here for you. Okay. So Dara Nua. And that just means new ending. So I'm actually going to keep this in the Untitled. Keep it easy for everybody, alright? You're marked on your grammar, but you're marked on the grammar that you use, okay? So our new ending, we want to say that, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to say that they saw the guards, that they drove off quickly, okay, and they were chased around Dublin, basically. We can say they drove towards the Phoenix Park, but the guards had cut them off there, okay? Drove off quickly towards the Phoenix Park, where the zoo is actually. So that's where Dado said he'd bring Liam originally. But in the Phoenix Park, well, sure, Garda headquarters are there, so they probably cut them off there. Caught them there, okay? And if you're coming from the country, you might know that Garda headquarters are in the Phoenix Park, okay? So Ord, Ifig and Ordi, so we'll use those words kind of. Is that alright? So they're the kind of points we want to do. So we need to kind of translate those. And we can use our Aimsir Oshanach in there, because we can put we can put like Dirt Dado, Vi Dado Ex Ween of Coddy Ain Himanish. Dado was thinking, what will I do now? Okay? Or what will I do next, even? Okay, so there's a lot of things that we can do there. So we'll start from there. Okay, so let me write this out in blue. So Nura Rick Dado agus Liam Bailile Clia Honnig Siad Mánas sa chóir. Okay, so Hunnic siad Mánas sa car. And we can say that, you know, Dado rushed into the car, and instead of pushing him in, he wanted to keep him calm. So we'll keep it calm for that, okay? So that's grand. So they got into the car. Bhí Dado nervy shock. So Dado was nervous. Chula sé na Gardaí ag talk. So we can say that he heard the guards coming, okay? Lame siad isteach sa car. So coming there, shocked is the word coming. So when you have egg before a word, it's the ing word in English, okay? Hunnic sé or chula sé na Gardaí ag shocked. So egg will give you the ing ending in osperla. So egg running, egg lamed, jumping, okay? So chula sé na Gardaí ag shocked. Lame siad isteach sa car, okay? So they jumped. Galaxy Games, I just see your question there. Yeah, there's going to be... I'll go back over those at the end of this stream, okay? But there are a number of Junior Cycle streams on, so I'll go back over those at the end, okay? But there's definitely streams. There's Irish, English, maths, business studies on Wednesday. I know that much, but I'll go through them at the end, okay? So, Lame siad isteach sa car. Go tubbin. Hunnic Mánas agus Dado na Gardaí a tóir. Okay, or a door, because there's more than one of them. Dado agus Mánas. So that should be a capital, I apologise. Na Gardaí a door. So now I thought ruddig an the whore. It's chasing you. It's looking for you. Okay. A door on their tail. You could nearly say. Okay, on their tail. Sorry guys, this Apple Pencil is being a little bit temperamental on me this morning. So on their tail, when something's on your tail, it's chasing you, it's the whore, okay? So they drove faster. So Humán siad níos tápúla. So they drove faster. So that's your came and a comparada there. So that's your comparative steps in Irish. So we've got níos tápúla and níos fearr. So níos tápúla is faster, níos fearr is better, okay? Is that alright? So what we'll do is I'm going to make a new slide here to make sure that we've got all of these notes together, okay? And I don't have one, so I'm just going to do that really quickly. Keep my annotations, of course. Home, insert, new slide. I want to drag it to the end. No, I'll just throw it down here. There we go. So, back to slideshow. And we know that now the guards are chasing, okay? So, Humán siad níos tápúla, they drove faster. Okay? So, Phoenix Park in Irish is Park on in Uisce. So Chric Siad Park on in Uisce. So they reached the Phoenix Park. So Chric Siad. They reached. Okay. And Park on in Uisce, Phoenix Park. Okay. So we're at the new book point here, so the new kind of climax of the story. So we need to say that like the Garda headquarters is here as well. So Nero is Dado. Grow Ard Ifig Nagardi Safork. Okay, so Dado didn't know that the Garda head office or Garda headquarters was in the park. So we're going to say Vigardi in Knockout. There were guards everywhere. In Knockout, everywhere. Okay. So, Vi Siad Gaffa Inish. Vi Dado agus Mánas Gaffa Inish. Alright. The last part is we said that they saved Liam. Hánig Fuisha ver Liam. So Fuisha is relief, okay? So Liam was relieved. Released, or not relieved, so yeah, relieved. Hoag Nagordi. Dado. August Mánas. Quig on Ordifig. Vi Liam. Important then that we do know how this ends. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is that it's Galaxy Games there. I obviously don't know your real name, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the start of this presentation, okay, and I'm going to show you what's available to you during the week for Junior Cycle, okay? Just come out of this, keep my annotations, and here we go. So your Junior Cycle streams are going to show up now in a second when this loads, okay? And this is what you got. Monday, I'm doing Gaeilge, okay? And what I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to be looking at the structure of the paper, the different main questions that are going to come up, and tips and tricks and how to go through those, okay? I've covered the Irish scale. I'll touch on it a little bit on Monday. I'm going to look at Filiocht, Drámaíocht, and the writing questions most importantly, okay? Tuesday, you got maths and geography. Wednesday, English, history, and business. I'm taking business again, okay? So for any of you who study business. Thursday is Spanish, and Friday science. So all of these are available to you then. Is that okay? So don't forget to fill out the form there, okay? And to get the notes later on, alright? And then subscribe to your subjects that you need to do on that you're studying for your Junior Cycle on ExamRevision to get all the best notes and all videos that are going to help you on those things, okay? A reminder of the giveaway on Instagram. So all you have to do is follow ExamRevision, like and share the post, and tag 2 friends to get 2 free places, okay, on your Junior Cycle or Leaving Cert courses for the October midterm, okay? And lastly, don't forget to follow on all social media accounts. There's a TikTok now, ExamRevision on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and on YouTube. All right. So thanks a million for listening and for joining in. And like I said, don't forget to complete the form to get your notes. Okay. Thank you.